I'm Sherry Sturman, Director of Crayola Education. Welcome to Crayola's Art of Learning program. Art helps kids learn, especially when the art they're creating is based on their ideas. Today, we're going to talk about how kids learn through game design. Grab some art supplies and get ready for a hands-on learning session. I'm thrilled to introduce today's guest, the Wells family. James is a Crayolian who you've seen in many of our education programs. What a treat for us to meet his entire family.
Hello, Sherry. It's so great to be here. And I have my dear family with me. As you mentioned, I'm James Wells, and I have my son here, whose name is also James. He goes by LJ. And I have my lovely daughter here, Ava Wells, and my lovely wife, Dorisha Wells.
We're really interested in learning about the game design experience. And so the viewers can join along and craft their own games and then showcase what they have created. Tell us a bit about what kinds of games that kids can make. What kinds of games do you recommend?
I would say one of the easiest to start with is a simple card game. My family, we love playing card games, incorporating opportunity for movement to get kids moving around, engaged. And then, of course, we love not only just card games, but board games. So that's an opportunity to really build on the card making experience and moving into large board game play where we can incorporate game pieces, encourage any family to explore the many types.
Well, in a few minutes, we're going to look at the board games that your family created. But you've worked with a lot of educators, a lot of kids. Talk about some topics that families might want to choose when they design their own game.
One of the topics that we love to incorporate in the game making experience is through nature. Kids love to get outside, and in the summertime, it's such a beautiful time for kids to be outside. So thinking about exploring your own backyard. So incorporating nature is a great one. Transportation is another one, right? We know that kids love to ride their bikes, skateboards, looking at cars, buses. So thinking about various modes of transportation. How do we move around in our own neighborhoods through various ways? Maybe you can incorporate even some opportunities to think about the weather. At least here in the South, we experience lots of rain, heat, extreme heat. So you could talk about climate awareness. So there are many, many opportunities. And then, of course, social emotional learning, which is something that's very big now in education. Students being more self-aware, our children being more self-aware, and also being able to manage those emotions. So maybe there's a game around how many of you can develop schedules and achieve various goals throughout the week, right? So we're thinking about self-management. So turning that into a game design, gameplay experience, I think will be really good for kids. And it leans into the various interests that they have.
Great ideas. Our viewers are going to love that as a springboard for building their own. Help the families that are viewing our show think about not only those ideas that you just told us, those themes and topics, but also what sort of supplies they might want to gather for their game making.
I think that this is a great opportunity to put on our recycling hats, right? Or what we say in many ways, we're going to upcycle. So one of the things I would encourage parents to utilize are cereal boxes, right? Many of our homes have at least a box of cereal somewhere in the pantry. So you can take that box of cereal, cut it down the seam, open it out, and you have there a board where you can begin to build the game on. Another idea is if you have an old board game, you can flip that board over, and in many cases, there's nothing on the other side. So you can reuse the board and get creative with that. Now, when we think about the various cards that could complement, say, a game board, I would encourage you to use index cards or just take construction paper, even cut that into many small rectangles. And we've used brads for, James and I were coming up with ideas to create spinners. So you can use a brad to create some innovative spinner for your game. So I would encourage you to just use what's around your house.
And what about characters and dice?
I would say model magic. Here, James is holding it up for you, where you could use the model magic to mold your pieces for your dice, as well as those game pieces. And with modeling clay, you have the opportunity to be as creative as you want to create pieces of various shapes and sizes to really highlight and complement the game design. So modeling clay, model magic would be a great choice.
Now I'd love to hear from LJ about one of the games that your family has created. How did you come up with the idea for this game? Did you think of other ideas before you settled on this theme?
We made Climb the Mountain of Kindness. We used Candyland as an inspiration, helping just one person get up the mountain. And we would do kindness things along the way. You pick a card, and if it's a match, then you get to move the space.
Can you show us how it would be played? Do a little family demo of the Mountain of Kindness game.
Love to. I want to be the dog. No. Somebody else wants to be the dog. I'll be the heart.
That is very kind of you. That was one of my other questions. If before we play the game, I was going to ask you, what tips do you have if family members have different ideas? Like, how do you work it out?
Normally, we combine them, or we see if they'll work in the game. If not, then we separate them and then bring them back later to make it into another game or make it into another idea. So you start at the beginning, and whoever the youngest goes first, which is Ava, you roll, go to the nearest cover that you land on, and then you pick a card. It says give a hug. You have to give a hug to somebody. And now she gets to move the spaces. Now I go because I'm the second youngest.
How are you like second youngest?
I got a green. Go to the green, pick the card up, give mom and dad a hug.
Both of them. This is a double hug card.
Everyone had a job. My dad did the cards, me and Ava did the coloring, and mommy helped us with watercolor and did a few of the cards too.
Did you have a special card that you made that you really want to pull from the deck? It's one of your favorites to get.
Tell every family member what you like about them.
So Ava, you made some of those characters. Do you have a favorite character that you made?
My favorite one is a dog.
Oh, we should have figured that out in the beginning when everybody grabs the dog, right? So do you always get the dog, or do you sometimes let another family member have it?
My brother keeps on using it, but I normally want to use it, but my brother uses it first.
So LJ, tell us about these rules.
We looked at all the games that we like, and we kind of combined all those games. In all the other games, there was really no kindness included. So we added kindness, and we made it kind of funny. Like some of the animals are talking, like saying, one of the deer are saying hi, and the fish are jumping out of the water and saying hi.
And there's a fox on the little edge close to the park. He's saying kind park. Like he wants to go sit down at the park.
LJ, when you were thinking about the rules, did everybody agree? Did you have different ideas? Tell us more about what it's like to start with a blank board and come up with your own game.
We did have different ideas, but most we did kind of agree. And on the different ideas, most of the time we combined them together. And the ideas that really didn't get combined, we put them in our back pocket and put them in the game later.
What was the expression? Put them in your back pocket?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great expression. So everybody feels like their ideas were heard, even if they weren't used in this game. How does it make you feel when you're playing a game that you made?
Feels fun.
The Wells children are going to be drawing some more cards for their game. I'd like to talk to Mom, Dorisha. So what did you notice about your kids working together, building this original game?
I noticed that they were communicating and they were really having a good time with it, having a lot of fun, just coming up with the brainstorming behind and creating the games. So, one of the things that, I wanted to encourage them to listen to one another's ideas and, like LJ said, put it in his back pocket if, maybe not this time, but maybe the next game. And also just kind of filling out their strengths. So LJ was good with coming up with a lot of the questions or the kindness acts and things like that. And Ava was like all about coloring, creating the pieces and things like that. So she's very much hands-on and wanting to work with her hands and color and paint. And LJ's more like let's map out how the questions and the rules and the framework for the game.
So you really saw a lot of strategic thinking on his part and some great collaboration between them as they were working out compromises. We even got to see that in watching Who's Going to Get the Dog, right?
Right.
That might even be a nice lead in transition to the second board game that's on the table. You want to tell us a little bit about, was that part of this compromise and putting ideas in the back pocket and bringing them out?
So yes, this game, the space game, I think they just like blew me out of the water with this one. I think I came back into the room and it was like almost completed. And so I was like, wow, y'all punched that out really fast. So the Be Kind one was first, and then the second one just came. So they really learned how to work together and come up with a new game very quickly.
Now that you've seen the Wells family's game, it's time for you to create your own. So grab a board, empty cereal box, or a leftover piece of cardboard, some erasable colored pencils or markers, some scrap paper, some index cards. Start to think about the themes that you're interested in. Think about games that you love and how you modify the rules. And then the fun part, Ava's favorite part, make those game pieces. After this session, you're going to have plenty of time to share what your game designs were. Please take a photo and add them to the comment section of this video. We look forward to seeing your family's games. And while your family is busy sketching those board game ideas, I just want to remind parents and teachers that Crayola can help make learning fun and colorful. You can sign up to receive a free Crayola education e-newsletter with great tips and updates on the additional Art of Learning programs, our read-along, draw-along programs, as well as other fun learning experiences. And that will be delivered right to your email box. When you go to this page, you're also going to find some resources that will help you extend into some additional game making activities. We're really interested in learning about the game that's next to the kindness game. Where did the idea come from and how do you play this?
I love space. The game kind of came along a week or two ago. I was reading my space book and I was thinking it would be nice to make a space game. You would hop around on like asteroids and you would go around planets and moons and stars. And I thought that would be really fun.
Did you sit down with all the ideas or did they come to you as you were drawing?
Kind of came to me as I was drawing. Like, there was no sun in the beginning. Then we were all thinking we should add a sun. Daddy shaded Mars and made it look more like the red planet. And we just came together on all ideas. So pretty much everybody's ideas got used in the game.
You talked about the red planet. You brought some real science in here too. Show us how you play. Are there some space characters?
This is the sun. This show likes to call this a TV, I think. But it looks like a shooting star to me.
We're astronauts watch the news.
Eva, is that the character you like to be when you play this game?
Saturn.
Saturn is her favorite.
Yeah,
Wow.
we made it Saturn.
Oh, that is so cool. Look at that. So dimensional. So when everybody in the family is a character, what are the rules? Like, how do you get around the board?
If you land on a black hole, you lose a turn and you have to go back one space or go back to the last black hole. And some black holes are like 10 spaces away from each other. And there's one at the very, very end. So if you land on it, you're gonna have to go back like 20 spaces.
Oh no, that's so disappointing. How do you know when you've won the game?
When you get to the heart on Earth.
Oh, there is a heart on Earth. Are there cards in this game?
7 or 8 categories: space, Mercury, Moon, Saturn, Sun, Earth, Uranus, and Mars and Jupiter.
Wow. So did you do a lot of research to prepare those cards?
Yes,
No, we used LJ's outer space book.
that's research, Ava.
Uh,
That's
no,
research.
That's just reading.
But that's research.
Oh, that's a really interesting idea. What is the difference between reading and research? There's a lot of learning in game design. I love it.
The Earth orbits the Sun and rotates on its axis. Through movement, show us an example of a bit of rotation. So I can't turn around right now, but you
Me
will
too.
rotate for a little bit and then you will go the amount of spaces you rolled.
I love that. That is a full body movement game. That is perfect. Love that.
And another one, high tides and low tides are caused by the moon's gravitational pull. Show your best imitation of a tidal wave.
Oh, that is so cool. So you've got a lot of space interests. Is that part of your long-term plan?
I don't know.
It's hard to pick a career at this age, right?
Yeah, the 3 main things I want to be when I grow up is like an engineer that can work for NASA, and a basketball player, and maybe a football player.
Wow. It's gonna be a pretty busy day if you do all 3.
Well, yeah, I could do 3.
You could do all 3.
I'm going to play basketball for 10 years. Then I'm going to be an engineer for NASA for 10 years. But I probably won't be able to play football then because I'm going to be like 50 when I try to play football.
So James, some closing thoughts before we end the session. What additional advice do you have for the viewers who are watching, families that are ready to dive in and make their own game?
When we think about the game making experience, it's all about celebrating the strengths of others. When we were going through this process, as Darisha mentioned, Ava's strength was around creating the game pieces. James, he also loved creating the board and the rules and such. We had to honor each other's diverse points of view. As James mentioned, there were lots of different ideas. And we pulled some ideas together. Some we put in our back pocket. I love that. We put them in our back pocket and we use that for another game. So as parents go through this process, with their kids and siblings as they're working together, know that we're all going to have diverse ideas and that's okay. And we can pull some of these ideas together and we can put them in our back pocket for other games. We're making this game together. So let's all jump in and celebrate each other's wins and successes through this experience. And if we hit a wall of ideas, it's okay to take a break and walk away. We did that a lot where we started ideas and it was getting late. Some nights it was after dinner time and we could see the exhaustion. So we took a break, took a pause, and went to the next day so we can approach it with fresh ideas, fresh minds. And more importantly, I would say is everyone will have an idea and we want to trust that everyone will work hard through this process. So they all worked really hard. We all did through this process, and we recognize that all of us had different strengths that we brought to this game planning process. Darisha, I would like to highlight, we talked about what the various kids, the strengths that they brought to the board. Darisha is a planner. So honoring that this planning process will be different from house to house and from kid to kid. You know, with the kindness game, we started with the rules, the objectives first. What's the goal? And then we thought about the game pieces, and we thought about the game play and the rules and such. And then we thought about, okay, so how do you end the game? So we had a very framed process, and that spoke to the heart of Dorisha. Dorisha is the planner, right? So that was important for her. Now, when the kids got to the space game, I noticed that they jumped right in. They didn't really think about the goal, the rules, all of those things. They wanted to jump in and just create the game board, the pieces, and they did. And Dorisha and I came back. We said this, we celebrated their ideas. Like, this is great. Now let's put some goals, some objectives, some rules. How will we end the game? And we were all doing this in the moment, right? So just flowing in the creativity. So that was something that we noticed, being open-minded, trusting each other through the process, that we're all going to get through this. And then the last thing is extending this game experience with high expectations, right? So we had an expectation for the kindness game. And what happened, it inspired the kids to go and create more games and build on other ideas and interests. So this was something that was inspired in them. And James actually has 2 other board games, right? He introduced the space game, but he has another game around the Titanic. So we noticed that through this process, we were building their love of game making and learning and engaging and honoring and collaborating and celebrating each other's ideas. So it has been a win-win, a very organic process, but we opened ourselves up to whatever the possibilities would be. So like any game, we do it for the enjoyment. And I would encourage families to just enjoy the process, whatever the process is, enjoying it, understanding that this is all about fun, us coming together, centering around that, and it will be a joyous experience and opportunity for you.
Thank you so much, James. That was incredible advice. I love your phrase. It's a win-win. Everybody's ideas are going to be heard. And it's really about letting your children's thoughts come to the surface, letting them drive the process. That was wonderful. Well, we want to thank the entire Wells family for sharing the game design process and helping other families think of the games that they're going to design.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.